Yeah. Okay. So first of all, just let's start with the country France, right? We call it France, but how do you say France in French? You say it as France. Can you try
France,
saying it? France.
France,
Yeah.
France.
Yeah. So
Okay,
if you are in France, then you wouldn't call it France. You would call it France because then that's how people call their own country, right?
okay.
The official name of France is actually French Republic or République Française. Can you say it? République Française.
République française.
Correct. Very good. So you must have, if you studied like any history in school, you must have learned about the French Revolution, right? Uh,
Little bit. Yep, yep.
yeah,
No,
a
not
little bit,
little bit.
right?
In fact, in detail.
Yeah. We
Uh,
learned a lot
uh,
about French. We learn a lot about French
uh,
Revolution in India. So you might have heard about this motto that came up during the French Revolution, which is liberty, equality, and
Equality,
fraternity, right?
fraternity.
So that is still actually the motto of France, even till date. And how do you say it in French? You say it as liberté,
Liberté,
égalité, and
égalité,
fraternité.
fraternité. So, do they pronounce it as t or t?
It's the, it's not the. So we will come to the
तलवार
alphabet
का
and
त. हाँ, okay.
yeah,
हाँ.
it's a the pronunciation. That's why it's
Hmm.
liberté, égalité, and fraternité. And
Liberty.
so yeah, I'm just giving you a brief, very overview. Obviously, we'll do the pronunciation and the letters at a later point as well.
Okay.
Okay, so as you know, the capital is Paris, but in French we say it as Paris, not
Paris.
Paris. Yes,
Okay.
Paris.
Paris.
And always remember the hardest letter to pronounce in French is actually the R because it's not the rolled R that we say. It's air. It's a very soft sound. That is why it's Paris.
Eh,
It's not Paris. It's Paris. It's a very soft sound. Can you
Paris.
say it? Yeah,
Paris.
but say it very softly. Like the R is as soft as you can make it. And obviously, we'll
Paris.
practice it
Okay.
again. But for now, you need to remember that the French R is very different from the English R, which is why a lot of words in French also sound very different to us because this main letter R is so different from ours, right? And the current president of France is Emmanuel Macron.
Hmm.
And again, you pronounce it as Macron, not Macron, right? It's not that macaroni
Macron.
pasta, it's Macron,
Okay.
right?
Macron. Okay.
Yeah. So the thing about French is that, and I think that the reason why I also learn French and why I also enjoy teaching French is because English derives a lot from French, which means that just by virtue of the fact that you know English and you speak English, you might already know a lot of French words, even if you don't know that you know them. Which means that learning French is actually not that hard because so many words are similar and so many words are like English is actually borrowing from French. French is not borrowing from English. English is borrowing from French. The
Okay.
main difference is obviously in the pronunciation bit. But that is not to say that French, some people, tend to believe that French pronounces a lot of letters weirdly. It's not that. It's just that in French, the letters that look similar to English are nevertheless pronounced differently. So once you
Hmm.
start learning the alphabet and you memorize the French sounds, French pronunciation is actually very easy. Once
Okay.
you memorize the alphabet, which we will discuss in today's class itself.
Okay.
Okay. So a little bit about francophone countries. Francophone countries are all countries that speak in French. Now, why is it important for us? Is because, of course, when we are learning French in India, we learn French based on France standards, right? But
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that all countries speak the same French. So the French that you hear in Canada is in terms of dialect, it's a little bit different. For example, like the Hindi that is spoken in Delhi is very different from the Hindi in Mumbai, right? Or the Hindi in
Ah.
Europe, Hindi in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar, right? In
Hmm.
the same way, French also has many dialects. So there are actually many countries that have French as their official language. Even countries in Africa, for instance, Democratic Republic of Congo, Senegal, Benin, all of these countries actually have French as their official language. So even if you say plan to migrate to any of these countries or even go for a holiday, French can actually come in handy. But then again, you also have to remember that the dialect is different, so understanding might be a little bit difficult towards the beginning. And then there are other places where French is a co-official language, and some of them become very important for us, like Belgium. Like especially when you start learning French, obviously one of the expectations is that you will interact a lot with popular cultural materials of French, right? So if
Hmm.
you watch more French movies, if you listen to more French songs, then your acquisition of the language will also become easier on your end, right? Apart from the official training that we are doing here. So if you say don't find anything from say France that you find interesting, you can always look at Belgian popular culture or Canadian popular culture because
Okay.
that will also help you in learning French. And even in Pondicherry, actually Pondicherry of India, French is an official language.
Oh,
So
okay.
Hey, that's an interesting tidbit. Okay,
Uh,
so now we will start not with the alphabet, but we'll start a little bit with salutation. In French, we call it les salutations.
Les
In the English
salutations.
word is like salutation. Salutation means greeting in English.
Uh,
So it's the same word in French, except it's pronounced as les salutations.
les salutations.
Right. Okay. So we will start with some basic words that you need to learn in order to interact in French. Like, even if you don't know the French grammar or anything, if you know these few words, you can interact pretty much in all situations. And this will help you as a beginner to interact in French, even if you don't know the language as such. Okay.
Okay.
So, first, obviously, we'll start with hello. Do you know what hello is called in French? Because it's a very common word.
Bonjour.
Yeah, but the pronunciation
Uh,
is bonjour.
bonjour. Okay.
No, see, the thing is, this end is not pronounced as bon. It's not bon. It's
Uh,
bon. It's
okay.
bon.
Okay.
And this J that you see is
Uh,
not J. It's J. It's a very soft J.
je.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour.
No, it's not J, right? It's
Uh,
J. So try saying the word J.
je.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like sh, but it's not exactly sh. It's like it's J. Okay, so there is J
Je.
and there is J.
Je. Je.
Yeah, correct, correct. You got it right. So now you say it together, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Yeah,
Bonjour.
and because the R is very soft at the end, it's almost not audible, right? It is audible actually, but
Bonjour.
like in our parlance, it's almost not audible because we spell the R so with a harsh R, right?
Uh,
So that is hello or that is good morning.
okay.
Now, here's a
Bonjour.
little fun fact that you can use too, because you already knew this word. Therefore, it's always good to build up on that knowledge, right?
Mm,
Now, actually, this word has two parts, right? The first part is bon, the
mm,
second part is jour, and they
mm,
both mean something together.
mm.
Bon actually means good in French,
Okay.
jour means day. So when we combine it together, it's like saying good day or hello,
Uh, okay.
right? So now you
Bonjour.
already know two French words from just knowing one French word, which is bonjour, right? Because
Bonjour.
now you know how to say good, now you know how to say day.
Bonjour.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, for instance, if you were to say good evening, just a second. Now, if you were to say good evening, right? We already know that the word for good is
Bon.
bon. So we'll write bon. And the word for evening is soir. So then the word for
Soir.
good evening becomes one single word. These are not two separate words, one single word, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Okay.
Correct. Now, if you want to say good afternoon,
Mm.
once again, we'll start with bon,
Bon.
because good. We
Uh,
put a hyphen
uh,
and then we write après. Just a
après.
second.
Après.
Yeah, après,
Après.
midi.
Midi.
Après means after.
Uh,
Midi means like midday, something like, middle, right? That's why
okay.
after middle, good afternoon, after the middle of the day.
Bon après midi.
Yeah, so see, with just learning these three words, you actually learn more words because bon means good,
Uh,
jour means day, soir means
correct.
evening, après means after, and après midi means afternoon. Now you can also see in après midi there is this E, right? And this E has an accent at the
Mm.
top.
Mm.
Now, if you can see on the side of my screen, there are two kinds of E accents that are there in three kinds of E accents that are there in French. One
Okay.
is slanted this way, the other is slanted this way, and the other has a little triangle at the top of its head.
Mm.
All
Mm.
three of these things mean three different things.
Mm.
But for now, you have to just try to memorize because there is no easy way to learn accents in French without memorizing. There is a slight difference in pronunciation that comes as a result of using these three accents.
Mm.
But in terms of spelling, you have to memorize. That's the only way to do it. Okay, so you have to memorize that when I'm adding that E in après, then it has this accent at the top. But we will discuss accents a lot more in future when we work on our pronunciation a bit more.
Mm.
But for
Mm.
spelling, you have to memorize. Okay, now let's go to good night. How do you think you would say good night? What will be
Bon.
the first? Yeah, LP. Now, see, here's a thing, right? Here's a funny thing about French, and this is what also makes French a little bit difficult.
Mm.
French is a gendered language, which means that each noun in French has a gender.
Okay.
And whenever you add an adjective in front of that noun,
Hmm.
the adjective will also have to follow the gender of the noun. So
Acha.
in this case, jour, soir, après-midi, all of these nouns were male.
Ah.
Therefore, we were just writing bon, bon. But because nuit, that is night, is female, therefore we are writing bon. We are adding that extra ne.
Okay.
Okay, so like I am obviously preparing these notes for you, which will hopefully be shared with you. But at the same time, these little things that I'm saying at the side, like
Hmm.
feminine, masculine, is
Hmm.
good if you can write them down as you're going, so that you can remember it for your reference.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Sure. So bon nuit.
Yeah. So basically, what we learned here is that bon is a masculine version of the adjective good. Bon is a feminine version of the adjective good. And how do you decide where to use bon and where to use bon? You see the noun. If the noun is female, then you use bon.
Bon.
If the noun is male, you use bon. And there is a difference in pronunciation because when I'm saying bon, this bon is bon and this is bon.
Bon.
Here the N is silent, here the N is audible.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
And how do you figure out if the noun is masculine or feminine? Memorize. There's no
Okay.
other way to do it
Okay.
because it's completely arbitrary. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So for now, don't worry too much about these things. Just focus on learning these words once the class is over. Once you do more and more learning, these rules will automatically become clearer to you. The reason I am just telling you these things while we are going is so that you don't get confused why this one is just N and this one is NNE. So now
Hmm.
you also know the reason, but the reason you will learn better as you move along. Okay. Do you know how to say goodbye in French? Because that's also a pretty common word.
No. 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 Bon.
No?
Obviously, the first thing would be bon, but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye is au
uh,
revoir.
okay. Or
Uvoa. See, it is written like RAVOIR,
uh,
but because the R sound is so different in French, it's pronounced as au uvoa.
or wa. Okay.
Yeah, so when you say it very close together, when you hear French people saying it almost sounds like au revoir. Au revoir.
Or wa. Okay.
When it's like say it close together, but actually the word is au revoir, and this is a spelling of the word.
Or wa.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Now, this was a good morning that you use in formal context, hello or good morning, right? So,
Hmm.
but if you're saying hi to a friend, right? That casual hi is either salut or cuckoo. These are the two words for saying hi in a very casual context. For example, on text to a friend. So either you will say salut or cuckoo. Say it.
Salut. Cuckoo.
Ha. And it's not salut, it's salut. Okay?
Salu.
Salut.
Salu.
Yeah, not salut, salut. You.
Salu.
Yeah,
Salu.
salut and cuckoo.
Salu or cuckoo.
Correct. Okay. Do you know how to say thank you? Because again, that's a common word.
No, no, no.
Okay. For thank you, we say merci. Merci.
Messy. No,
Yeah, merci. The
messy.
R is there, okay, but the R is very soft. That's why it's not always clearly audible, but the R you still have to pronounce it. So it's merci.
Mercy.
Merci. Correct. Very good.
Mercy.
Okay. Now, if you want to say thank you so much or thanks a lot,
Hmm.
in that case, you would say merci beaucoup. Beaucoup means a lot.
Okay, so P is silent.
No, the B is not silent.
Okay.
Yeah, the P is silent at the end. Yeah, the
Huh.
B is audible, the P
Hmm.
is silent.
Hmm.
Beaucoup means a
Mer-
lot.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, merci beaucoup. Correct.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah. Now, if you want to say please, there are two ways of saying please.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a little bit different from English.
Mm-hmm.
For please, you say s'il vous plaît. This side. S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous
If
plaît.
you're talking to someone, okay, so here's the thing, right? So in Hindi, we have something like tum and aap, right?
Yes.
Aap you say in a more respectful context, tum you say in a more informal context. So the
Yes.
vous in French is a little bit like aap. You say it in a respectful context to a person that you do not know. For example, if you go to the restaurant, you will speak to them as vous. Vous means you,
Vous.
basically.
Okay.
You, but in the more respectful version, like aap.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, for example, if you're in a restaurant and you're ordering a coffee, then you will say, "Ah, cafe, s'il vous plaît," because you don't know the person that you're talking to. But if you're talking to a friend, for example, you go to a friend's house and you want them to give you a coffee, then you will simply write, S'il te plaît.
Fill the play.
Yeah. So ta or tu
Hmm.
is the is like tum in
Tum.
Hindi.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's a less respectful version.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
S'il
Now,
vous plaît, s'il te
still
plaît.
the play. Right.
The play. The.
The play. Yeah. Okay. Now, next is suppose you want to say to someone, nice to meet you. This is a very common phrase in French, actually. So you'll hear a lot of people say it in normal conversation.
Hmm.
So now here's the thing, right? Here's again the tricky part with French. If you are a guy, you will say enchanté. Nice to meet you.
Enchanté.
If you are a woman, however, you will add that extra E at the end. So when women will say nice to meet you, I'll say enchanté. It'll sound exactly the same, but the spelling will be different.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, if you say are given to write a dialogue, okay, and two people are speaking and you have to write the version of the woman. In
Hmm.
that case, you will add that extra E at the end.
Okay.
But when you are writing it, for example, you are emailing someone
Hmm.
and you are signing off your email, then you will just write, you will end it here. You won't add the extra E at the end.
Okay. Enchanté.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
So in both the cases, like enchanté. So N, the pronunciation of N is silent, or like though both the N, no, on is okay, but chanté,
Hmm.
chanté or chante.
Yeah, so the thing is, yeah, it's shante.
Chanté.
It's like a slight nasal sound is there. So it's not exactly like saying oshate. It's not like that. It's oshate. It's slight nasal sound comes in.
Enchanté.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, okay, so what's your mother tongue, by the way?
my mother tongue is Marathi.
Okay, Marathi, right, right. So there are some Indian languages which have, for instance, I don't know, there's a little like
R, r,
roundy thing that comes,
r,
right?
r, r.
No, not the r sound. It's basically like a vowel sound. So my mother tongue is Bangla. That's why I was coming from that context. That gives a slight nasal sound to words. So this an is a little bit like that. It's a nasal sound. Maybe it's not there in Marathi, and I can't really tell you
Enchanté.
in Hindi. It's a nasal sound basically. Okay. Now let's take something like see you soon. Right. So for example, you say someone bye, see you soon. Right. So then you say au revoir, and
Oh,
then you would say, wait, just a second.
yes.
A bientôt.
Bientôt.
Yeah. So again, you can see this A has a little accent mark.
Uh,
This O has a little accent mark, right? So
to.
these are again spelling memorizations that you'll have to do. A bientôt. See you soon.
Bientôt.
If you want to
Bientôt.
say to someone, see you tomorrow, then you will obviously start again with this A.
Uh,
Then you will say a dima. Dima means tomorrow.
dima.
So now
Dima.
you learned another one while learning this word that tomorrow always means dima.
Dima.
Right? So if you have to
Dima.
use tomorrow, you can also use just dima.
Dima.
And if you want to say someone, have a good day.
Have a good day. Okay.
We know the word for good. What was the word for good?
Bon.
It was bo or bon in feminine, right?
Uh,
So then in this case, we'll use a feminine version
okay.
and we will say bon journée.
Journey.
Have a good day.
Bon journey.
Yeah, so see, this is different from this one. They sound so similar, but the reason why this changes is because the gender of the day changes. They're basically the same word, right? Good day. Bonjour. But in this
Bonjour.
case, because the gender is changing, that's why it's becoming bonjourne. So if you say,
Bonjournée.
if you tell someone bonjour, now this is the difference, right? This is the funny part. If you tell someone bonjour, that means you're saying hello. Have a good day, usually we say at the end of the conversation, right? Yeah, I'll
Correct.
go now. Have a good day. Then you
Correct.
will say bonjourne. So in terms of
Bonjournée.
context, the gender is also changing.
And wherever I mean, whether it's in the case of have a good day or hello, it's je. The pronunciation of je is
Yeah, the
je.
pronunciation is J because the pronunciation of J in French is ja, no
Okay.
matter where it comes.
Okay.
So there is no such thing as the hard ja that we say. There is no such letter in French at all.
Bonjournée.
Yeah. So now let's go over the list quickly once again because I want you to say these words. So how do you say good morning?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. It's not jour,
Bonjour.
okay? Jour. So say it
Bonjour.
again. How do you say good
Bonjour.
morning?
Bonjour.
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 Jour. Yeah, correct.
Bonjour.
How do you say good evening?
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Soir.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Yeah, okay. How do you say good afternoon?
Bon après-midi.
No, in this case, you will pronounce the N. I'll explain
अच्छा.
why you will do that. In this case, you will pronounce the N.
हाँ.
So you'll say bon après-midi. Bon
Bon up.
après-midi. Not
Bon
bon.
up.
In this case, you're pronouncing the N, right? So bon après-midi.
Bon après-midi. Bon après-midi.
Correct. Now the thing is, okay, so I'll come to the pronunciation rule later, otherwise you'll get a little bit confused. Okay, how do you say good night?
Bonne nuit.
Bonne nuit. Good, very good. How do you say goodbye?
Au. Okay. Au revoir. Au revoir. Au
Au
revoir.
revoir, not boy.
Au revoir.
Revoir.
Au revoir. Au
Au
revoir.
revoir. Yeah,
Au
correct.
revoir.
Correct. How do you say hi?
Um, salute. Salute. Salute
Hmm,
or
good.
coucou. हाँ.
Cuckoo. Yeah, correct. Thank you.
Merci.
Good. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah,
Beaucoup.
yeah, that's correct. But this R is very soft, right? So you don't say it
Uh,
as mercy, not in the English
Merci.
sense. You say it as mercy, messy,
Merci.
messy,
Merci.
or messy.
अच्छा. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, correct.
Hmm.
Then how do you say please?
S'il vous plaît or
S'il
s'il
vous
te
plaît in the formal context, s'il
uh,
te plaît in the informal context.
s'il vous
S'il vous
plaît
plaît is
and
like aap and s'il te plaît is like tum.
s'il te plaît. S'il vous plaît or s'il te plaît.
Yeah. Now how do you say nice to meet you?
Enchanté.
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 Enchanté. Slight
Enchanté.
nasal sound. Shaw. It's not shaw exactly. It's shaw.
Enchanté.
Yeah. Then how do you say see you soon?
Uh, à bientôt.
Bientôt.
À
Bientôt.
bien. À
Yeah.
bientôt.
Again, the nasal sound will come. Bientôt.
À bientôt.
Yeah. Then see you tomorrow.
À demain.
Correct. And have a good day.
Bonne journée.
Bonne journée.
Bonne journée. Bonne
Not
journée.
journée. Né.
Bonne journée.
Okay, so this is one this is one accent that I think that we are quite familiar with, this sign particularly.
Mm.
Because, for instance, when I write the word cafe, right,
Mm.
in English, we
Mm.
don't write it like this. We write it like this. We
Mm.
add the little accent sign,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Even in English. And when we add that accent sign, the sound becomes A because we see cafe. It's not
Cafe.
cafe, right? It's cafe. So then
Cafe.
whenever you encounter this accent sign in French, it's the same sound. So that's why it's bonjourne, not
Bonne
journée.
journée.
Yeah.
Bonne journée.
Okay, so these are the salutations or salutation, and if you learn them, it means that it does prepare you for very normal conversations in French, and you do by virtue of it can start a conversation. So sometimes it also happens that you just want to become more friendly towards a French person, but you don't necessarily know the language. So just starting with something like bonjour, saying merci might really help a lot.